All right. Hello, Gun Nation. How's everyone doing this evening? We'll give it a couple seconds to let everybody get on here. Do a quick roll call. We got MZ, Mike High, CZ Shadow 2, James Johnson, Casey Dolph. We got Reloading from the Hot Pot, Milkman, Pistol Pete, Chris from the 740, and he will have his chat after mine. So y'all tune in to Chris from the 740. That's his handle there. We used to be able to tap him and go on and subscribe, but freaking Commie2 won't let us do that shit anymore. Fina is here. How are y'all? Hope everyone is doing well. We just got a couple of things to talk about, and of course, I'm going to take all of y'all's questions, comments, all that good stuff. But we will. Did I happen to see the new Beretta handgun? Yes, I've actually got that, the A1 or whatever they're calling it, I guess the new APX. So, but we will give it a couple of minutes or a minute or so. And I do want to talk about some dots. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I did have to take the Aimpoint P2 off of the staccato. It wasn't fitting the plate just correctly. So anyway, I've got another setup coming for it. So if you buy the P2, the Aimpoint P2, in Aimpoint's world, the Aimpoint Acro P1 and the P2 will fit on the original Acro plate. However, with the Dawson setup for staccato, there's a little slight of a difference. I was noticing when I put it on, it was kind of like it was grabbing on the left side a little differently than the right side. So I think there's a little tweak they had to make. So they're going to come out with a new Acro 2 plate. And I think the 2 is going to fit the 2 and the 1. But just letting y'all know, I did take it off because I mean, I couldn't have ripped it off, but I was like, man, if I have to shoot that thing, I just don't want to take any chances on it. So I've been carrying one of my other guns. I've been carrying my P10C for like a day. I mean, just today. But hopefully I'll have that other set up soon, and then I'll go back to the staccato. But let's see here. There was a question. I might have missed it here. SCOTUS rules 8.1 that gun manufacturers can be held liable for shooting victims. Oh boy. What about car manufacturers with the car accidents? What about pools? A pool company puts a pool in the back of your house and a kid drowns in it. You get to hold the pool company liable. Or if you go to Home Depot and buy a hammer and you smash your finger off, they're going to fix your finger. I mean, this shit is just ridiculous. It is a tool. It's the person behind the tool, evil or good, that is the problem, the potential problem. So we've all said this. We could lay a gun in the middle of the street for a year loaded. As long as nobody pulled that trigger, it wouldn't go off. So, but I noticed after the event, I'm not going to talk about what it is, but y'all know what event I'm talking about. Then they started coming after armor and all of that stuff. So I have a feeling that's probably going to be next. I'm not trying to tell anybody to run out and grab it. And, I'm not a fear monger, but I have a feeling that's the next thing they're going to try to push or, go after. And I know they have in the past, but thing that they can use, that's what they're going to do. So just something to think about. On the new Beretta, the APX, it is optic ready, which is a good thing right out of the box. Does it do anything for me? It kind of reminds me of the old Beretta APX, kind of a cross between that and the PDP. That's kind of what it reminds me of, just not the grip. Nothing I'm into. If y'all are into it, hey, go for it. I mean, it's just, and I've said this before, and I'm not trying to be rude, but polymer wonder guns, plastic wonder guns, whatever you want to call them, to me, there's nothing drastically that one won't do versus the other. There's nothing that I feel any other polymer gun can do better than my P10F or my P10C. I've shot new polymer guns against those. I shoot them both equal or shoot mine better because I have more time behind it. That's just my opinion. Again, You know, I'm not trying to knock anybody. If you want those other guns, by all means, grab them, but they just don't do anything for me. You know, I'm kind of on to the alloy or the steel frames, 2011s. I still like 1911s, and I still like polymer striker fired guns. Don't get me wrong, but there's just nothing exciting about them. I mean, it's kind of like putting lipstick on a pig. You know, it just didn't do anything for me. Hello, Keith Gregory. Hello, Pistol Pete. How are y'all? A-dubs, if I missed you. Let's see here. Yeah, that's. I mean, I know 17 said that too. I said that, but they wanted to launch it again, so maybe they'll come after this one with more backing than they did. And they probably saw the popularity of the PDP and was like, "Hey, that kind of looked like our APX original one, so we'll jump in there and do that." I agree, Pistol Pete. I agree. Um, you know, the booklet, I'm not going to say the name. Y'all know what I'm talking about, but the booklet that he wrote, everything seemed so perfect for an agenda or their agenda to fit it. It was almost like it was scripted, almost like it. Something you'd see in a movie. It's why it was just so crazy. Yep. And that's exactly what I said, A-dubs. I'm like, okay, you've got a vest. How does that piece of equipment affect anyone else? Nails don't fly out of it. Nothing, you know, it's for you, not for anyone else. It can't go bang. It can't do any of that. So, I mean, if you wanted to wear a life vest and walk around in a store, you know, you could. People might look at you weird, but it is what it is. Exactly. That's the same thing I said, Bald. Um, and it was almost like, you know, they're saying this young person did all this. You know, he seemed very well trained or very well scripted. So there you go. Yeah, and I mean the price point on it, like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, I'm just, for me personally, you know, when people say, "What do I think about it?" or I think if you're in the mood for a striker fired gun, it could be a very good one. Sitting here dry firing my SIG AXG Pro alloy frame. There you go. You know, since I put up that or talked about the Aimpoint P1 or P2, I had a lot of people say, "Oh, that's dumb. Why do you need it? You know, you can just put any other dot, will work great," and it will. And I've been carrying dots for a long, long time. I mean, not as long as maybe a lot of people, but what's it been, like 3 years now? Pretty much every gun I carry has a dot on it. And I want to share, and I even put up a video a long time ago. Not a lot of people watched it, but I just want to say one thing. I carried the Aimpoint for one day, you know, and then I was just like, but I wasn't going to a crazy area. I knew where I was, so I was local. But I was just like, you know, I want to carry it. I want to feel appendix if it's any different because it's a little bigger, it's a little blockier at the back. I just want to see if it feels any different at all versus a Hollow Sun or an SRO or an RMR or whatever. Absolutely no difference. Couldn't even feel any difference in it at all. So that doesn't come into play. But I'll share this with you where it really does come into play. And I'm going to use this as for an example. This is a Hollow Sun 508T. So, and I'll let you, there it is right there. So there's your green dot. This one's a green dot. This is what was on the Staccato 2011 that I took off. But here's where, you know, I'm carrying this way. So it's appendix. And you can't see this through the camera, but inside here, it's kind of like a little catch-all. Everything in there, it catches. So I'm just going to be honest. We all shed. So your skin sheds, your belly lint, your whatever, sweat, you know, whatever it might be. And I've carried my gun appendix when I've worked in the yard and all that stuff. So I get sweat down in here and all that. It all goes down in there, and it's kind of like a little catch-all. So I actually wipe this out you would not believe the crud that was in there. Now, could I still look through it and see the dot? Yes, I could perfectly. But with all of that crud in there, that just gets right into your dot. These kinds are the open emitters are just catch-alls, which isn't it's not going to make it go bad, but I'm just saying, I did the exact same thing with the Acro, and at the end of the day, I literally just went like this across the top of the Acro. Every bit of that was gone. Nothing was inside of it. Where this, I've got to get a little brush. I've got to get like a little Q-tip. And if I really want to detail inside, clean it all out, blow it all out. It's hard to get your finger down in there and wipe it all out. That's the benefit. That's one of the major benefits of having a closed emitter. If anybody's thinking about something like that. Exactly. And that's exactly what they did. You're exactly right. Spent time getting his camera set up, checking that live stream would work. Looked like Twitch. Yeah, I don't know what it was on, but it just seemed. And that's the thing about this. Hello, Len Holt. How are you? That's the thing about this. A lot of people that are going to do this, they're looking for notoriety. They're looking at, hey, say my name, blah, blah, blah. If they would actually quit showing their picture and blob it out and quit saying the names and all of this other stuff, they're not going to get any attention. I mean, they can say what happened, but don't give the people notoriety. But they're not going to stop it. But, it is what it is. Hello, Matt Moore. How are you? Big J, a local store has some 97 BSs discontinued this year. Yes, still in stock. I'm a CZ fan and have 4 and 9 millimeters. Should I buy a 97B? In my opinion, the 97B is definitely going to be a collector one. It is a 45. It's not a 9 millimeter, but or excuse me, not a 10 millimeter like some people want. But I think that it's one to have. I really like mine. I have the B. I don't have the BD. I don't have the decocker. I have the safety. But it's a really great gun. It shoots great. There's a lot of benefits in having it. So if you enjoy 45, the thing is a tack driver. Shoots really, really good. Yep. Carry a soft eyeglass case, cloth to keep mine clean. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. This, I could take the edge of my shirt. I can wipe it. I can just wipe it with my thumb. You don't have to dig down in there and kind of clean it all out. But I'm just trying to give you something that, as a carrier every day, God, for what is it? I think I've been carrying for over 30 years now. I just noticed something that was like, wow, okay, now I really get it. Another thing with the presentation, when I pull it up, I just held it at 3 o'clock, did some dry fires really quick. And in the presentation, not that my presentation's bad, but with the presentation being a 3-dimensional where you can really see the angle of it, it seems to line up quicker. That's hard to make sense, but it's having that little bit of extra back when you're looking at it this way, you kind of see the side. So if you're aimed a little left or a little right during your quick presentation, coming up super quick, it seems to line up quicker for me. And also at my eye level, I'm seeing the dot before I'm even getting to my eye level. And I can do it with this too. That just seems a little faster for me with the Aimpoint. Is it all relevant? Yeah, probably. Trying to get it. I don't know what the zoom is doing, but dots are dots and they're all fine, but that's just something I noticed. So, but yeah, dots are the future, the past. They're that's the way it's going. So my eyes aren't that great for irons. I can shoot irons. I even shot them this past weekend, but kind of glad I'm a dot guy. Hello, Bobby. How are you? Glad you stopped by to say hi. Hello, Tactical Fud. Yeah, the 97B is a big grip. It's wider. So, and some people want thinner grips on it than it comes from the factory. I actually have lock thicker grips, even on my 97B. Just my hands are really large, but it is what it is. Hello, Clyde. How are you? So the APX, I talked about that. Um, I talked about the staccato, so hopefully I'll have that soon and I can start kind of playing with that. I did order something else. When it comes in, I'll let you know what it was. I do want to let you know also, as y'all all know, I've been carrying and using, gosh, for years now, Core gun belts. I love them, like everything about them. I've worked with Core for, gosh, shit, over 3 years now. Um, and I've had demand and demand and demand. So um, they set me up a discount code. It does not benefit me in any way. I don't get any money from it. It benefits y'all. If you want to use it, it's BJGG10. So it's Big Johnson Guns and Gear 10, but it's just capitalized BJGG10. That'll save you 10% off any Core product, anything you want to buy. So you got that if you want to use it. Like I said, it doesn't benefit me, but y'all have been asking for it, so they blessed us with that. I recommend thin grips for smaller hands from Lock. I have them on mine, works great. Yeah, and I have a lot of people that with smaller hands, I'm talking about medium, not small, but medium. Um, the palm swells, believe it or not, you don't have to have a gorilla hand like I do for a palm swell. I've had some medium hand sized guys shoot my guns with the palm swells and they love them because it just contours to your hand a little bit better, even if you have medium hands. So, but on the 97B, yeah, they don't even make a palm swell. Lock doesn't because that grip is so long. But yes, Collie, do you still run Streamlight TLR-9? Yes, I do, and I love that light. It is the longer one. It's if you look, it's on my MPA Masterpiece arms. That thing fits perfectly because it's a 5-inch gun, so it fits on there perfectly. You can run it on your pick rail for an AR, AR-15, whatever you want. It is a fabulous light. I love the controls. I love everything about it. So I think it is a very underrated light. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and say this out loud now. And I've got, oh my God, I've got like 10 of these suckers. Not really, I'm joking around. I probably have, I know that I have 5, I could have 6. And these are the TLR1s. And I'll say this right now. I like the TLR9 better than the TLR1. And I love the TLR1s. I've used them for 1,000 years. I even have like the 600 lumen ones, the older 800 or whatever they were. This one's the 1,000. But I actually like the TLR9 better than this. It's thinner. You don't have the big bulb on the end. The controls are even better. You don't have the paddle switch like this. You actually have the push buttons. I actually like TLR9 better than the TLR1. So that's just my opinion. And I love the TLR7s for a small one. Let's see here. Hey, last week I asked about the Vortex AMG versus the Strike Eagle. You said there are 2 different animals. Please explain. I think you were talking about the Huey. We were talking about the Huey, but the Vortex Huey UH1. Or I'm sorry, I have the AMG also, but if you're talking about scope versus scope, I have the AMG Razor. When you're getting into Razor HD vortexes, they're the top of the line. There's no joke about those. If you're talking about scope to scope versus a Razor versus a Strike Eagle, the turrets are better. More tactile, not as much play. They are super, super tight. The glass clarity is unbelievable on the Vortex HDs. I've got the HD 1:6, and then I have the 4:54, I think is what it is. For long range, that's the AMG. And the glass is unbelievable. The reticles are truly daylight bright, where the Strike Eagles, they're kind of not. When you're looking at the 2, I'm not saying the Strike Eagle's bad. Don't get me that, because you're dealing with price point versus price point. The AMG, I think, is like $2,600 or $2,700. The razors are like $1,600 to $1,800. You know, you kind of pay for what you get. And trust me, I've got the primary arms 1 to 6. I've got the primary arms 1 to 8. You know, I've got a bunch of scopes, but by far, in my opinion, the razors are the best. I've looked through Voodoos. I've looked through Leopolds. Now, of course, the Marks, when you get into the Mark, they're really nice, the super high-end Leopolds, but they're super expensive. But as far as most bang for the buck, Vortex HD razors are probably the best bang for the buck because they have a lifetime warranty. You do anything to it, they fix it or give you a new one. So just kind of, that's my opinion. Now, if you're talking about the Huey versus the EOTech, I really like the Huey, but you're dealing with holographic sights versus red dots. But I really like the Huey too. The only thing about it is they're both heavy. The EOTechs are heavy and the Huey's heavy. The Huey's like 11 ounces with the mount. Yeah, and just so y'all know, on the Core, I've got some stuff coming from Core that's kind of different. So I'll show that as soon as it comes in. Let's see here. Golly Robert says, I got mine after seeing you with it. Yeah, I really love that TLR-9. It's just a great vehicle, or great light. Huey versus Strike Eagle. That's what I thought. The Huey is a holographic sight. It's all self-contained. You know, you don't really have to adjust it. You know, you've got your holds. You've got a BDC reticle, kind of like an EOTech Donut of Death. At the bottom, you've got a little triangle. So if you're shooting subs, that's going to be your aim point at the bottom where the triangle is. If you're shooting supers, you're going to use your center dot. It's a great reticle. Of course, you don't stare at it. If you stare at it, it's going to look really grainy because it's holographic. It does run on CR123s. The battery life on those are not long because it's holographic. They tend to chew up batteries. But you know, it's kind of what you want. You know, what you're going for. You know, with me and a holographic, with my eyesight without a magnifier, I'm probably good to 100 yards. I would be better with a scope or a magnifier. I've got a lot of guns with red dots and magnifiers on them too. And then I've got the Primary Arms Prism scopes, which I love, the 3 times. And I shoot those with both eyes open. And I really, really do love those. The Huey is 11 ounces. My Primary Arms 3 times Prism scope, I think might be that, but you've got so many different heights of mounts that it comes with. So I highly recommend those. Hello, AR Guns 1776. How are you? I have not tried Lucid Optics. They reached out to me, and I think you get the same thing on the Avalink things. And I'll just let you know, I don't accept all those. A lot of them I decline. I don't, you know, I've said this before on Avalink, you could have 9,000 discount codes if you chose to. I'm not that guy. I have to believe in the product, really use it, really beat the shit out of it, really test it out. And I don't want a whole bunch of discount codes personally. And the reason for that is I kind of want to be true to myself, and some of that stuff is not true to me. So I'm just going to be upfront with you guys. You know, not saying they're bad. I don't know if they are or not, but I'm a big believer in Razor HDs. I know they're super expensive, and if you're looking for budget or a little more friendly, I think Primary Arms is a really good option because they do have a lifetime warranty. And I'm just letting you know I'm an older guy. I've seen a lot of these scope companies over a period of time just come and go, so you can't get warranty taken care of, or what they'll do is they'll be shady as shit. And I can name 2 companies that have done this, and I'm not going to drop their names because you probably know who they are. But what they've done is they had bad optics before, and they changed their name to a little bit different, and they didn't warranty any of the old scopes. So there you go. Where is the caviar? I don't know about that. Let's see. Hey, Bending Ballistics, how are you, man? Good scope for a 17 HMR, man. I really don't know. I've got some for my 22. Now, to be honest with you, on my Precision 22, I've got the Diamondback Tactical, and it is the less expensive. It's not super expensive, but it's kind of their mid-grade uh, Vortex Diamondback Tactical, and I actually really love it, and it's an awesome scope, especially for like $500. Tonight we're having 40 Creek, even in their glass. 40 Creek, pretty good stuff, and very reasonable too. Is the Holosun 507 with the ACSS Vulcan worth the extra money, or stick with the Circle Dot? If you are new to dots, if you're fairly new, that big circle that they put on the ACSS Vulcan reticle really does help, because if you go up and you don't see the dot, or you're a little off, that half circle will actually guide your eyes automatically back to the chevron. Also, if you have stigmatisms, the little chevron is clearer than a regular dot. If you get a little blistering from a dot, you have astigmatism, because you want to shoot dots with both eyes open, not one eye. And you don't want to stare at the dot or the chevron. You want to look at your target and be target focused, and let the chevron or the dot just get in the way. Kind of superimpose that on your target. Don't ever stare at the dot. Also, just so y'all know, my kiddo took her shooting this weekend. She's never shot a dot. She likes to shoot. She just doesn't shoot a whole bunch. Took her shooting. She shot her dot. She shot her irons on her pistol, her irons, and then I looked at everything, tweaked her grip, popped her elbows out. So she went from shooting groups like that to like that instantly, with just some tweaks of the grip and stuff. And I'm not a trained professional. I just play this on YouTube. But then I put her behind some dots, and she took those groups that were that down to like that with a dot. So it was almost like instant. Excuse me. Um, I mean, and that's her very first time. She's looked through them before, but never shot with them. So it was like instant. And I asked her, I had 3 guns there, and I'll talk about it later in a video, because I have one planned. But I had 3 guns there, and she actually told me the one she likes the best, first, second, and third, and then which dot she liked best. And you'll probably be surprised, but yeah, she shot very, very good, very well. All right, let me catch back up here. If I miss some, please jump in there. Yes, I have, Brandley. I have shot a Parker Mountain machine compensator. They're actually very good comps. It was not mine. On my Glock, I've got a Hennings, or not a Hennings, a Harrington Arms, and I really, really like theirs. They work very well. Parker Mountain machines are super nice, so I highly recommend their compensators. There's some that I kind of don't really recommend. They don't do that much, and I'll tell you who they are. I'm not, and I've got 3 of them. Primary Machine. I'm not real high on their comps. I don't notice enough difference between some guns. Theirs seem to have the less amount of assisted recoil. Not saying they're bad. I have a single port. I have 2 multi-ports, and out of all of my comps with the same 9mm, those are probably the least effective. They still work, but not like the other ones do. So, and I'll just tell you straight up. I got Cabela's 1:6 AR scope for my 4570 139, and it comes with mount. Pretty impressive, actually. Looks like primary arm scope. Yeah, and I mean, when you get into that stuff, they're probably all made in the same factory and all that. I will say this: all mounts are not the same, so please be aware of that. I've had some mounts where I have put the correct torque on them, the whole works. went out and shot them, with the recoil, depending on the caliber. And I've had a lot of them loosen up. And I'm just like, really? And I'll retorque them, to spec with my fat wrench, exactly what they're calling for, and they still loosen up. They're just shit. I've even put Loctite on them. They still loosen up. So, just because they're a $16 mount doesn't mean they're a great quality mount. I have mounts that I've had on my guns, and I'm talking scope mounts and actual big mounts, that hold like a cantilever mount. So if you want shit to really lock down, I would recommend good mounts. Let's see here. I normally wear reading glasses when using iron sights with the red dot. I don't need my glasses. The dot has just enough magnification to make a difference. Yeah, and you're going to find, hello, old and armed, you're going to find some dots have a tight or a slight magnification, and some are really a true 1x. So it just depends. I've seen some where I get a little bit of distortion, like meaning not distortion, but magnification. If you're looking at the item and then you put the dot in the way and it kind of, makes it look weird or kind of fish-eyed, that's going to happen. But dots are going to vary. But it is what it is. I love my 507 Vulcan. Yeah, I mean, they're great dots. I don't have the green Vulcan. I only have this green 508T. And a lot of people have asked, do I have a preference between red and green? Because I've been shooting this green one for a long time. And of course, I've got tons of red ones. This is my first green one. And what's funny is I really don't have a preference. I thought because on my fiber optics, I love green. I don't like red in fiber optics. So I thought that I would really just, the green dot would do it for me. And I like it. And it definitely is a different color. It's not, the same color as like what green grass would be. It's more of a fluorescent color. I'll show you again if you want to see it. So it's definitely kind of a different color green. But I thought it would be like earth shattering. And I'd be like, holy crap, I love green. But what's funny is I really can't say that. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, I don't think it's like I gotta have it. Hello, CW. How are you? Let's see here. Also, so again, I've got the core discount code if you want it, BJGG10, save you 10% off any core product. If you want to use that, you're more than welcome to. Doesn't benefit me, it benefits y'all. But, and like I said, I've been using core products for 3 or 4 years now. I've even done 2-year reviews. I've done year reviews, 2-year reviews. I wear core belts every single day. And have been for quite a while. The way that I wear it, because I've had people ask, is you've got your buckle in the front. I do not wear my buckle in the front. I don't do it because I carry appendix. So I will take the buckle and move it over to the 11 o'clock position, or take that back. It's more at the 10. So that's where my buckle is. I've got just regular belt in the front. So when I put it in there, the buckle doesn't impede it in any way, shape, or form. Another reason I love the core, and I'll go ahead and say it, and I said it in the video, but I'll say it live, is I can push the little, release button. I'll release it a little bit, keep it buckled. It does not come unbuckled. Take your pants down to do your business, or, pull it out from the front to do your business. And your gun does not sag. It doesn't tilt. It doesn't do anything weird. It just sits there. If you have a regular belt where you have to completely open it, your pants will fan out and you have to hold your gun with your left elbow or your right hand while you're doing your business. Talking standing up at a urinal or whatever. But this one, you kind of just keep it together like a hula hoop and it holds all your shit. Even backup mags, the whole works. It'll hold all that weight. So, and then when you're done, button your pants up, zip them up, click, 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 and you're done. You're back in business. And then I just slide the holster back over a little bit because I have to slide it to the right a little bit. But then I just slide it back, so I'm never removing it from the belt. So it's awesome. Let's see here. Matt Moore is saying, Big J, are gun people like us going to make sure Beto is a 3-time loser? I'm from DFW. Awesome, man. Always good to have a local guy here. I'm sure hoping so, man. I'm noticing in my neighborhood, there's 2 signs up for him. I don't know, and I'll tell you this, what we've had and if you know this because you're in Texas, we have had everybody from California, from New York, from all these places moving to Texas. So they bring all their bullshit beliefs here and basically screw up our Texas. So and matter of fact, my neighbor is from California. He moved in not, no, I don't know, about 6 months ago, but he got out of there because he believes in our beliefs. So he is a freedom loving American and wanted to get the hell out of there. So I appreciate those types, but not the other types that screw everything up. So I don't know, man. And I know that Bloomberg threw a whole shitload of money behind Beto. So that's another thing we have to deal with. So I'm just hoping that this shit just, I'm hoping he just slaughters him and he'll just go away back in his hole. You know, Francis, his name is not even Beto, it's Francis, and he's from El Paso, and his wife is rich as shit, or wife's family. So I've seen his house, the whole works, but yeah, he's a piece of work. Hey, Floridian, how are you, man? Scuba material type belts, you're going to find that some of those now on the core belts, you know, you can get the webbing, you can get the tactical, you can get the leather. The scuba does tend to stretch a lot over a period of time. So just be aware of that. None of these belts that I'm talking about have stretched at all year over year over year. So I'm from Texas, El Paso, and hoping my vote will help make Francis Beto a three-time loser. Yeah, I'm hoping so too. Matter of fact, I'm going to go vote tomorrow. We can do early voting. So, I'm sorry, Friday. Friday. I'm going to be voting Friday just because I'll be out of town the following week. All right, you're a native. So am I, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, you won't be disappointed with Core. And Hot Pot said that he really likes his core. Floridian is in Houston this week. I am so sorry, Floridian, that you're in Houston. uh, Houston used to be awesome, but it's not so awesome anymore. Matter of fact, when I go to Houston and stay there, I usually stay in the Woodland area or in Katy. I don't stay in Houston anymore. I've had my play with that. Oh, I did want to tell you something too. It was pretty funny. I think Floridian likes these stories too. I had somebody rear end me the other day. I was at a light sitting there, you know, light was red. I think the girl was texting. Bam, hit me in the back of the truck. I wasn't worried about it because I have something back there that she wasn't ready for. But what I have on the back of my truck, and if y'all have ever heard of them or seen them, it's called an RBP, and that stands for Rolling Big Power Hook. And it's actually, it has a little step on it and it has a big hook on it. I pull people out of ditches during the snow. I keep it on there for this particular reason. And she was in a Toyota. What was it? It was a Corolla, a little Toyota Corolla. She hit that hook, punched through her bumper. That's how fast she was going. But of course, they're just, you know, plastic crap. Punched a hole through it, and then she couldn't back up because she was hooked on it. So I told her to put it in park, keep her foot on the brake, and I just romped it forward and ripped off her shitty ass bumper, or just the fascia, just the plastic fascia. That's what it's called. And just put a little scratch, nothing big. Mine's black powder coated. I picked up her fascia, opened up her trunk, threw it in the back of the vehicle. She went over to the gas station right there on the corner, asked if she was okay. She said, yeah, she's fine. She's going to wait on her wrecker. Busted her condenser, her AC condenser, busted through her radiator. Fluid and shit was everywhere. I had to push her car because I told her not to start it because I don't want her to blow the motor. Pushed her over in the parking lot, made sure she was okay. And she said she called her mom. Her mom, I guess, lives right down the street. And when her mom got there, then I drove off. But, you know, things like that, there's just goofy people out there don't pay attention. And come to find out, she said that she was texting her mom. So that's why she hit me. But anyway, stuff like that happens. So, you know, sometimes you might want to have something on the back of your vehicle to protect your vehicle from shit like that. Let's see here. Also, and this has been popping up a lot here recently, and I see it on other channels, videos that I watch. I see it on my channel. People still come on and say this stuff, but it's that caliber debate. And it's 9 versus 10 millimeter, 9 versus 40 versus 10 millimeter. You know, I've had people say, why do you carry a 9 millimeter? You should carry a 10 millimeter, you know, blah, 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 blah. And like I said, I tell people carry whatever you feel comfortable with. That's what I tell everybody. I don't, you know, as long as you carry, that's all good with me. But carry what you're capable of and carry what you like, because everybody thinks it could be a one shot and done. That's not true in some areas. Not saying you're going to have to reload and all of that stuff, but if there's 3 or 4 people in a car, you don't know what you're going to have to deal with. 2 cars are involved because it's known in Houston. So be careful, Floridian. You stop behind a car at a stoplight under an underpass. It's known under underpasses. Another car pulls up right behind you and they pin you in and they rob you. So at gunpoint. So it's happened multiple times. I've talked about it years ago. It was attempted with me. Didn't work out so well for them. But that can happen. So one thing I'll say, if you carry a 10 millimeter or you carry a 40 caliber or you carry whatever, go to the range and test with rapid shots. I'm not talking bang, 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 bang. I'm talking da 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 da. Like if you're gonna have to shoot through a windshield or something, I'm talking let it loose. Shoot a mag through there. Look at your groups with a 9. It might be this or this. Then look at it with a 40. It might be this. Look at it with a 10 millimeter. It might be this. You know, all of your bullets are going to be accounted for. So please be aware of that. I'm not saying you can't do it. You know, I've got gorilla hands and I've shot 10. Hell, I carried 10 millimeter back in the day. Everybody thinks 10 millimeter is new. We had 10 millimeter back at the end of the 80s. I think it came out like in 83 or 84. You can look it up. 10 millimeter's been out forever. It's just like 45. It goes up and down. 40 caliber, I think, came out in the early 90s for the FBI. So hell, I owned 6 40 calibers back in the day. I don't own one now. I'm not saying they're bad guns. They're not. But just test yourself. That's all I'm saying. Don't just carry it because Joe Blow carries it. Carry it and see what works for you. That sucks, Big J. Glad you and the other driver were okay and not hurt. Dealing with insurance is such a pain in the pain, though. Yeah, I don't have to deal with any insurance. My little hitch was already scratched, so that's all her deal. And I felt bad because she is a young driver. But man, I see so many people texting when I'm driving and they're swerving over into me and shit like that. So, you know, I always honk at them and tell them to stay off their damn phone. When I had my diesel, I used to run air horns. I don't have an air horn on my truck now, but I used to have air horns like an 18-wheeler has. And I would light them up and it would scare the dog shit out of them. I mean, it almost, some people jerk so hard they almost went off the road. So I'd try not to hit it too often. I have a tow hitch with time with 3 different size balls. Had people rear end me as well with an old truck. New one is a lot higher. Normal car will probably end up going under the rear end. Yes, a lot of those smaller cars will go right under your bumper, which will fold these bumpers. These new section bumpers, they're on all these vehicles, like bald on your truck. It's like a 3-piece bumper. It's got 2, they call them bumperettes. So it's got the 2 bumperettes in the center section. So you can change all 3 pieces of them. But that shit's not cheap anymore, and they'll fold like a freaking lawn chair. They're not what they used to be. So having a hitch on it definitely helps. I heard the 10 millimeter versus 85 or 45 ACP. They want to get rid of 45 for 10 millimeter. Yeah, 45's, and I agree with Pistol Pete. 45 is not going anywhere. It's an 8.0 round. It's been around forever. It's not going anywhere. I mean, and you know, just for the example, 45, if as a whole, is still more popular than 10 millimeter because of the 1911s, all the old 1911s. So 10 millimeter is popular and it's became more popular, but 45 is not going anywhere. Yeah, wisdom comes with age. Caliber debates are just talk. Yeah, and I mean, even at gun shops, I still hear it. I'll just be standing there looking around, and I hear, "Oh shit, don't buy that 9mm. You got to buy a 45. It's God's caliber." Blah 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 blah. I'm just like, I just walk away. I don't even give my opinion unless it's asked. If somebody asks my opinion, I'll give it, but I'm not the guy that's going to stand there and give you the whole show and glow. Exactly why would you pay more for 10mm over 45? I mean, 10mm does have more velocity. 45 is actually a fairly slower bullet because it's more weight. Um, you can run 10mm, and a lot of or excuse me, some of the 10mm will shoot 40 and 10mm, so it is a versatile caliber or gun. Some guns will, not every one of them. Um, it does hold more capacity. Now, 9 holds more than 40 and more than 10mm and more than 45, of course. But, it's like I said, it's whatever you want, whatever works for you. Hello, Havoc. How are you? Hope everything's been well, man. But yeah, this whole caliber debate, it gets pretty old. And I've had people go over it with me, even in shotguns. They're like, why would you shoot a 12 gauge when you can shoot a 20 gauge faster and you can do this? And I mean, that is true. I'm not discrediting that. But, when you got a 1 ounce 12 gauge slug, that's a hell of a lot of heat coming at you, or even an 8-shot. I mean, I just like 12 gauge personally. I mean, I've shot 410, I've shot 16 gauge, 20 gauge, but I just like a 12 gauge. I'm a big guy, I can handle it. Some people are smaller in stature. So I would definitely recommend a 20 gauge for them. Or if you're shooting skeet, you can shoot a 20 gauge super fast and you can keep it on target a lot easier than you can a 12 gauge. But for a defensive shotgun, I would always go 12 gauge. That's just me. But you got to remember, I'm the guy that loves 308 or 300 blackout over 5.56 all day long. So that's just me. 5.56 has its place, but if I'm shooting a 5.56 for any defensive purpose, it's got to be a 77 or a 68 grain at least. 55 grains are super fast and they've taken down many people, but and speed does kill. But I like that punch. I like to have something behind it. And I am seeing, and I'm sure y'all are too, a lot of the ammo pricing is coming down. It won't come down to probably pre-COVID days, but it has been coming down. But I'm just waiting for something to happen. Something's got to give somehow, some way. I just don't think it's going to keep, just falling and falling and falling. It could, but who knows? But any, new guns other than the APX, any new guns that people are excited about or thinking about? There is a new 2011 that is coming out. Triple C sent it to me. Let's see what it's called here. Where did it go? Here it is. It's the Brazos. I don't know if how well y'all can see that, but it's called the Brazos SC Limited, and it's a new 2011. The prices on it are $3,500 for the poly grip, for the polymer grip, or $5,900 for the steel grip. And I'm like, and it's not optics ready or any of that. So I'm like, shit, I'd stay with an MPA, Masterpiece Arms DS9. I mean, I've got one. I love it. That thing's only $3,000 and it's already optics ready. You just have to buy the plate. No. Matter of fact, I had some work done at the house today. I had, a bunch of woodwork done. And yeah, definitely lumber prices. And I know Bald deals with this a lot, but I paid for all the lumber, of course, the materials and the labor that I had the guy do for me today. I know him. He's needing some work and I was needing some stuff done. So, I said, come over and I got stuff for you to do. So anyway, I just left him here and he did what he needed to do and got it all done. But yeah, he had to go up and buy some lumber and it wasn't cheap. So and especially for the treated, I needed some that was treated. But let's see here. MCX Spear. Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I saw, I mean, I haven't seen it in person. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I saw, oh gosh, what's his name? I drew a blank. Um, Batman, he sounds like Batman. I've said that for years. Flannel Daddy. I saw his review on it, and I mean, it seems cool. I just think when it gets into the civilian market, it's going to take a long time for ammo, all of the other stuff to catch up. I know people will buy it, but I'm not going to get it. It doesn't really do that much for me. I would rather have 8.6, and I said that before, versus the Spear. Oh, Matt's got a joke. Guy walks into a bar waving his 1911 and shouts, "I got 7+ rounds of 45. Who the hell has been sleeping with my wife?" The voice yells back, "You don't have enough rounds for all of us." Uh-huh. There you go. There you go. That's a good one. Yes, I feel your pain, Bald. Yep, it sucks filling up your tank. And you're exactly right. Mine even shuts off at 100 sometimes. So yeah, it sucks midstream when you got a bunch of people behind you and you're having to use 2 credit cards to fill up your gas because your thing stops at 100. Matter of fact, I called one of my credit cards and I told them, like, "What the hell is this?" And they're like, "Oh, it's standard." And I'm like, "You need to bump that up." So they put mine at 150. But I had to call and tell them that. That looks like a USP or USPSA mag, Big J. Are you talking about the gun, the 2011? Maybe that's what you're talking about. Yeah, used guns. I'm seeing a ton of used guns. I'm sure y'all are too. I heard a lot of Glocks are being returned. Identical, of course, those prices will have to come down at some point. Huh. I am seeing a lot of police trade-ins. Matter of fact, my Texas gun experience, they've got like, man, I think they've got like 12 or 15 police trade-ins, and I mean they're clean. Hell, some of them look like they hadn't even been shot. So if anybody's looking for them, they've got them there. Most of them are 19s and 17s. Oh, the Brazos pick, yeah, it's just a 2011. Basically, you could use it in production or open or whatever, or open because it's got a single action trigger. I don't know what this is. Hey, what's up, LW Road? Just got here. What are they trading in Glocks for? They're just police trade-ins. They've got to deal with the police department, so they'll trade them in, and I think they replenish them or whatever. So they'll trade them in occasionally. Why shouldn't you trade in a Glock? I'm just joking, but yeah, I would agree with you, Mike. Some people are actually afraid of Glocks, and I get it. Some people want the double action, single action, or they want a safety. So, and some people like, and this is what I always say to new gun owners or thinking about buying a gun. A lot of people say, "Oh, go buy a Glock, go buy a Glock," or that particular gun store might push you towards a Glock, and you buy a Glock, and then you're like, "I don't really like this grip angle. I don't really like the way this feels in my hands." Or they try their buddy's gun, and they're like, "Oh, I like this one better." They'll go trade it in and get something else. So I always recommend going to your local gun range, trying a bunch of different, some of their rental guns, trying what works for you, putting your hands on it, and buy what fits your hand and what you like. Don't just because somebody says Glock doesn't mean you have to buy a Glock. So buy what the hell you want. Oops, here it is. It just moved. You think the current events like Buffalo and political banter that follows will raise the demand on guns and ammo? It will the second they say something's going to happen. Like they're going to ban this or ban that. Then here we go again. So that's what it's going to take. I don't know if it's going to be a specific action. I know what caused the other purchases was all the looting and rioting and stuff like that. That's why a lot of people bought. I even know people who are non-gun people that actually bought because of that. So there you go. Phoenix says, I'm thinking about buying a gun. Well, I mean, heck, grab them up. You know, they are at decent prices right now. Ammo's not, but guns are. So, and I will always say this, buy a gun that will, in case for some weird reason you don't like it, buy a gun that will hold its resale value, meaning a name brand, whether it be Glock, Smith & Wesson, you know, CZ, something like that. Some of these, you know, like Garrisons and some of these, you know, no name type brands or not well known brands, there's not a large amount of them out there to have a good base price in the used market. So you can always find used market pricings on Glock and stuff like that, something to compare it to. It's kind of the same with cars. Um, you know, I would stay with those if you have to get a polymer gun. And then that's another reason I invest in, I guess, guns that I prefer, but, you know, more pricey guns. And I said this on a chat last time or even the time before. Every gun that I've ever sold, in the past, whether I just didn't like it or I was just tired of it or just, you know, kind of wanted it gone, I've never, ever, ever lost money on a gun. I've either broke completely even or I have made a killing on them. I mean, I've made a bunch of money on them. So, you know, whether it be ARs, pistols, whatever, that's the way I look at it. It's an investment. You know, if you buy cheap stuff, you're kind of going to not get anything for it. It's going to hold no resale value. So just be aware of that. King Dingling is saying my girlfriend got her first gun, Taurus G3C. We picked it up last night. Congratulations, man. I'm glad she got her first gun. That's awesome. That is awesome. Carry on, definitely. Do you have any family heirloom guns passed down to you, Big J? If so, what's your favorite and the story behind it? It's a great question. Yes, I do have several guns that have been passed down from my grandfather. Or I have, of course, I had two. Actually, I had three grandfathers because of a divorce when I was young, between my mom and dad. Probably the coolest gun that I have, and the actual story behind it is I have a German Mauser, which is a real German Mauser, real, and there's a reason that German, okay, it has a specific symbol on it. I even have a video on this. It was my grandfather's gun. He was a pilot, and he was actually in the German War, flew over, fought the battle, did all that stuff. This gun was damaged on the battlefield. This is the story that he personally told me. He picked it up, threw it in his plane, and brought it back. So it is a real German Mauser. The only thing that is not actually OE on it or original equipment is the stock. The stock was broken. So it does have a modern stock on it, but the rest of it is all stock or is all original equipment. So it shoots great. It's an 8mm. It's got some oomph to it, but it's legit. So I've shot it. Yes. Okay. You know it too. My other grandfather, I have a punt gun. And a lot of people don't know what a punt gun is, but it's a shotgun. His is a 10 gauge, and it's almost 8 feet long from the floor to the top. It won't fit in a safe. I have multiple safes, and it won't fit in one. So I have to put it in the closet, and it's called a punt gun. And it was used for a couple things. You can get geese way the hell in the sky, or if you're fishing from John boats like they used to back in the day, those little wooden / metal boats, you can actually fire it and it will move the boat. It's long as shit. It's heavy as shit. I've only shot it one time. It's not fun to shoot. It's not fun at all. It'll knock your business in the dirt. I'll just leave it at that. If you're a man, you know what I'm talking about. You know, but those are probably my two. I have some other ones, but those are probably my two. I do have a big collection, and and just so y'all know, I don't show everything that I have. I've got a large collection of 22 pumps. They're antiques, pumps, and semi-automatics. I've got a big collection of those. I love 22 rifles, and some of them are super old. I mean, like shit, some of them are over 100 years old, and they still work great. Also have a 32 chicken gun. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's a 32 caliber single shot. The barrel is not round, it's hexagon, and it shoots a 32 caliber shell. My grandmother, when she couldn't get up and run around and chase chickens, she would line that thing up. It's got a bead sight on it. She would line that thing up, and she would shoot a chicken in the head. The chicken would run around, die. She'd go pick it up, and then that was dinner. So when they lived on the farm. So I have that also, and it still shoots. Thank you, sir. I love guns that have a story. Some of the 22s that I have don't have a story, but they're also from the family. But you know, it's still great to have those. Recommendations on a stock 308, or should I build one? Are you talking about an AR-10, or are you talking about a bolt gun? AR-10, I mean, there's some great ones out there. Lancer, even I'm not real big on the Saints. Too many issues with them. The SIGs aren't bad. Not the Cross, but the SIG, what is it? The Tread, it's pretty decently priced. If you're just needing something basic. So that way you have a warranty on it. Aero Precision, you can build one. Just if you buy or if you build a 308 AR-10, get all the same components from the same company, because there is no mil spec on a 308. So your upper could be different from your lower, and they're not going to match up correctly. You can have some gaps. I've said that before too. Yeah, Clyde, that's what I was talking about. I mean, built or buying it, you know, whatever you choose to do. You know, if AR-10s, you might want to buy it, your first one. That's awesome. I actually have a Mauser C96 from my great grandfather who was on the specific front. It has a Japanese trench art on it. That's awesome, man. Yeah, those are cool. I've had somebody offer me good money for mine, but I would never sell it. So might be buried with it. Who knows? Big J, I'm intrigued by Meta Tactical Apex kit, polymer frame with 16-inch barrel for Glocks, turns 19 or 17 into a bullpup. I really don't have any experience with that, so I don't want to speak out of turn. You know, if I haven't tried it or really played with it, I don't really want to talk about it. I'll just let you know I'm not a bullpup guy. I've shot tons of them, and I am not a bullpup person at all. So, but I'm so used to an AR-15 style, that's probably my problem, or, you know, what I'm more used to. I can shoot them fine, definitely slower with them. And I mean, the weight does stay in the back, and you can get a 16-inch barrel, and it looks like a damn SBR, because, you know, it's all, so if you're looking for shortness, but you have to have a required barrel length, then you might want a bullpup. But I'm just not a bullpup guy. I don't really care for them all that much at all. But I don't want to interfere with the chat that's coming up. Y'all can tune in over there. It starts at 8 o'clock, and I think he's already taken off over there. But anyway, y'all can go check Chris from the 740 out. He's going to do his 8 o'clock chat. I think he just kicked it off. But I appreciate y'all so much. We will do this next Wednesday. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below after this. And remember, an unarmed nation's a very weak nation. So we all got to carry on. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.